Intro Hollywood has seen its fair share of legends, icons whose talent transcends time. But few stars burned as brightly and tragically as Montgomery Clift. A brilliant actor, a pioneer of method acting, and a man whose life was filled with secrets, struggles, and scandal. From his privileged yet complicated childhood to his meteoric rise in Hollywood, and ultimately, his heartbreaking downfall, Clift's story is one of immense talent, personal battles, and an industry that both adored and abandoned him. In this video, we're diving deep into the life of Montgomery Clift, exploring his childhood, career, personal relationships, and the controversies that surrounded him. What led to his decline? Was he truly tormented by his secret life, or is there more to the story? And how did one tragic accident change everything? Stick around, because we're about to uncover the truth behind one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars. Childhood and family. Montgomery Clift, born Edward Montgomery Clift on October 17, 1920, in Omaha, Nebraska, was the son of William Brooks Clift and Ethel Fogg Sonny Clift, née Anderson. He had a fraternal twin sister, Roberta, later known as Ethel, and an older brother, William Brooks Clift Jr., commonly referred to as Brooks. His father held the position of vice president at the Omaha National Trust Company, while his mother, Sonny, was a homemaker with a complex personal history. Sonny was reportedly the illegitimate daughter of Woodbury Blair and Maria Anderson. Her birth and subsequent adoption were facilitated by Dr. Edward Montgomery, after whom she named her son. Throughout her life, Sonny endeavored to establish connections with her alleged biological family, which included prominent figures such as Montgomery Blair, Postmaster General under President Abraham Lincoln, and Francis Preston Blair, a journalist and advisor to President Andrew Jackson. This quest for recognition influenced her approach to raising her children. Determined to provide an aristocratic upbringing, Sonny ensured that Montgomery and his siblings received private tutoring and were well-versed in languages, becoming fluent in French, German, and Italian. The family traveled extensively across the United States and Europe, exposing the children to diverse cultures and experiences. Despite these privileges, the Wall Street crash of 1929 and the ensuing Great Depression severely impacted the family's finances. William Clift faced financial ruin, leading to significant lifestyle changes, including relocating to more modest accommodations and William taking a new job in Chicago. At the age of 13, while living in Sarasota, Florida, Montgomery Clift began his acting career with a small, unpaid role in a local theater production. Shortly thereafter, the family moved to New York City, where Clift made his Broadway debut at 14, portraying Harmer Masters in the comedy Fly Away Home, which ran from January to July 1935 at the 48th Street Theater. His performance was noted for its amazing poise and dexterity, marking the beginning of a successful stage career that spanned over a decade before transitioning to Hollywood. Career. Montgomery Clift's career in the entertainment industry was characterized by rapid ascension, critical acclaim, and a profound influence on method acting in Hollywood. His journey can be delineated into distinct phases, each marked by significant achievements and challenges. Clift's foray into acting commenced on the Broadway stage. At the tender age of 14, he debuted in Fly Away Home, 1935, portraying Harmer Masters. This early exposure showcased his innate talent and set the foundation for a decade-long stage career. During this period, Clift collaborated with esteemed playwrights and actors, honing his craft in productions such as Thornton Wilder's The Skin of Our Teeth, where he originated the role of Henry. His dedication to theater not only refined his acting skills but also established him as a formidable presence in the theatrical community. Clift's transition from stage to screen was both strategic and impactful. Rejecting the conventional long-term studio contracts, he sought creative autonomy in his film choices. His cinematic debut was in Howard Hawks' Red River, 1948, filmed in 1946 but released 2 years later. In this western, Clift starred opposite John Wayne, delivering a performance that juxtaposed his nuanced sensitivity against Wayne's ruggedness. The same year, he captivated audiences in Fred Zinnemann The Search, 1948, portraying a compassionate soldier aiding a lost boy in post-war Germany. This role earned Clift his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, solidifying his status as a leading man capable of profound emotional depth. In A Place in the Sun, 1951, Clift's portrayal of George Eastman further exemplified his commitment to character immersion. His on-screen chemistry with Elizabeth Taylor was palpable, leading to a lifelong friendship and multiple collaborations. Clift's meticulous approach to his roles was evident in From Here to Eternity, 1953, where he embodied Private Robert E. Lee Pruitt. To authentically depict the character, Clift underwent extensive physical training, including boxing lessons and bugle practice, resulting in another Academy Award nomination. His dedication to realism and emotional authenticity contributed significantly to the evolution of method acting in cinema. The trajectory of Clift's career faced a turning point following a devastating car accident in 1956 during the filming of Raintree County. The incident left him with severe facial injuries, including a broken jaw and nose, and necessitated plastic surgery. The physical and psychological aftermath of the accident led to increased dependence on alcohol and prescription medications, impacting both his health and professional reliability. Despite these challenges, Clift continued to deliver compelling performances. In The Misfits, 1961, he portrayed the introspective rodeo rider Perce Howland, sharing the screen with Marilyn Monroe. His role in Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961, as Rudolf Peterson, a German baker testifying about forced sterilization, was particularly poignant. Although his screen time was limited, Clift's portrayal was powerful enough to earn him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. However, his ongoing struggles with substance abuse and the lingering effects of his injuries made it increasingly difficult for him to secure roles. His final film, The Defector, 1966, saw him as an American physicist entangled in Cold War espionage. Clift's health continued to decline, and he passed away shortly after the film's completion. Scandal. Montgomery Clift's life and career were shaped not only by his immense talent but also by the numerous personal struggles and controversies that surrounded him. From his concealed sexuality and battles with addiction to the devastating car accident that altered the course of his life, Clift's story is one of brilliance and tragedy. His legacy remains complex. He was both a Hollywood heartthrob and a deeply troubled man, a pioneer of method acting and a victim of an industry and society that demanded conformity. Montgomery Clift lived in a time when Hollywood and society at large were intolerant of homosexuality. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Clift never engaged in a sham marriage or a publicly manufactured romance to disguise his true orientation. However, he maintained an intense level of secrecy regarding his personal life. There were numerous rumors regarding Clift's relationships. While he was often linked to women, including his co-stars Elizabeth Taylor and Libby Holman, close friends and later biographers confirmed that his primary romantic interests were men. He was said to have been involved with choreographer Jerome Robbins and actor Roddy McDowall, among others. Despite these relationships, Clift's fear of exposure led him to lead an isolated life. Hollywood at the time enforced strict morality clauses, and the revelation of Clift's homosexuality could have meant the end of his career. He lived under constant pressure, knowing that a scandal could destroy him professionally. This secrecy took a severe psychological toll, leading to self-destructive behavior. His struggle to maintain a public image while concealing his true self contributed significantly to his reliance on alcohol and prescription drugs. Interestingly, later accounts challenged the perception that Clift was tormented by his sexuality. The 2018 documentary Making Montgomery Clift, directed by his nephew, argues that Clift was not ashamed of being gay but was instead a victim of Hollywood's rigid and oppressive culture. This raises the possibility that Clift's downward spiral was caused less by personal shame and more by the pressures of maintaining his career in an unforgiving industry. On May 12, 1956, Clift's life changed forever. After leaving a dinner party hosted by his close friend Elizabeth Taylor, he lost control of his car and crashed into a telephone pole. The accident was catastrophic. His face was shattered, his jaw was broken in multiple places, his nose and sinus were fractured, and he suffered deep facial lacerations. Taylor, one of the first to arrive at the scene, played a crucial role in saving his life. Clift was choking on his own blood and broken teeth when Taylor manually reached into his throat to clear the obstruction. He was rushed to the hospital and underwent extensive reconstructive surgery. Physically, Clift's face was never the same. Despite advanced plastic surgery, the right side of his face remained slightly immobile. The accident robbed him of his once youthful, chiseled good looks, which had played a major role in his screen presence. The emotional and psychological effects were even more devastating. Before the accident, Clift had already struggled with anxiety and alcoholism. Afterward, he was in constant pain and became heavily dependent on painkillers and alcohol. His behavior became increasingly erratic, and his relationships with friends and colleagues suffered. Despite his injuries, Clift returned to work on Raintree County. His performance remained strong, but audiences and critics couldn't help but notice the stark difference in his appearance. The media fixated on his changed face, fueling speculation about his condition. Clift once bitterly remarked that people watched his later films just to see the before and after of his accident. Before his accident, Clift had been one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood, rivaling Marlon Brando and James Dean. He had received multiple Academy Award nominations and was widely respected for his method acting. But after 1956, his career suffered. Clift's dependence on alcohol and pills made him increasingly unreliable. His memory suffered, he often forgot his lines, and he was prone to mood swings. Directors and producers grew hesitant to work with him. He was labeled difficult and uninsurable, limiting his opportunities in an industry that valued dependability. Relationships. Montgomery Clift, throughout his life, cultivated profound relationships within the Hollywood community, marked by deep friendships and complex personal connections. One of the most significant relationships in Clift's life was with actress Elizabeth Taylor. Their bond began during the filming of A Place in the Sun, 1951, where their on-screen chemistry translated into a lifelong friendship. Taylor was known for her unwavering support of Clift, especially during his struggles with addiction and personal turmoil. She remained a steadfast friend until his death, often advocating for him and providing emotional support during his most challenging times. Clift's professional life was enriched by collaborations with several notable figures in the film industry. He shared the screen with Marilyn Monroe in The Misfits, 1961, where Monroe reportedly remarked that Clift was the only person I know who is in even worse shape than I am. This comment highlighted the mutual understanding and empathy between the two actors, both grappling with personal issues amidst their careers. In his personal life, Clift had intimate relationships with both men and women. He was involved with composer Lehman Engel and had a significant relationship with theater actor William Lumasina, which lasted 3 years. Lumasina remained a close friend until Clift's death. Additionally, Clift had a deep and emotionally charged relationship with choreographer Jerome Robbins. Their connection was intense, and they often concealed their relationship by dating women publicly. Clift's personal life was complex, and he maintained a level of privacy about his relationships, leading to various speculations and narratives about his sexuality and personal connections. Death. Montgomery Clift's life was marked by both exceptional talent and profound personal struggles, culminating in a tragic end that has been the subject of much discussion and analysis. On May 12, 1956, during the production of Raintree County, Clift was involved in a severe car accident after leaving a dinner party hosted by his close friend Elizabeth Taylor and her husband, Michael Wilding, in Beverly Hills. Falling asleep at the wheel, he crashed into a telephone pole, resulting in significant injuries, a broken jaw, fractured sinus, and multiple facial lacerations. Taylor, arriving promptly at the scene, prevented him from choking by removing a dislodged tooth from his throat. Despite undergoing reconstructive surgery, Clift's appearance was permanently altered, especially on the right side of his face. This incident not only affected him physically but also had deep emotional and psychological repercussions, leading to increased dependence on alcohol and prescription medications. In the decade following the accident, Clift's career and personal life were on a downward trajectory. His health deteriorated due to substance abuse, and he became increasingly unreliable professionally, leading to strained relationships within the film industry. Despite these challenges, he continued to work, with his final film being The Defector, 1966, a Cold War thriller filmed in West Germany. Clift accepted this role partly to prepare for his next project, Reflections in a Golden Eye, where he was set to star alongside Elizabeth Taylor. However, he passed away before production began, and the role was subsequently filled by Marlon Brando. On July 22, 1966, Clift spent the day in his New York City townhouse with his live-in personal secretary, Lorenzo James. Their interactions were minimal throughout the day. Around 1 a.m., James checked on Clift, who was awake and reading in bed. James suggested watching The Misfits, airing on television, but Clift declined, stating, "Absolutely not." These were his last recorded words. The following morning, at 6:30 a.m., James found Clift unresponsive, lying in bed with his eyeglasses on and fists clenched. He was pronounced dead at the age of 45. An autopsy determined the cause of death to be a heart attack brought on by occlusive coronary artery disease. While no evidence of foul play or suicide was found, it's widely believed that his years of substance abuse contributed significantly to his declining health. Clift's funeral was held at St. James Church in Manhattan, attended by 150 guests, including notable figures like Lauren Bacall, Frank Sinatra, and Nancy Walker. Elizabeth Taylor, then in Rome, sent flowers in tribute. He was laid to rest in the Friends Quakers Cemetery in Prospect Park, Brooklyn. Despite the personal demons that plagued his life, Clift's contributions to cinema, particularly his influence on method acting and his portrayal of complex, sensitive characters, have left an enduring legacy in the world of film.